Hello， 大家好，欢迎回到外媒看中国，我是安博然。A new level of cringe cope is coming out of Washington-funded anti-China groups, and I am loving it. One group literally said on Twitter that the 265 million tourists who visited Xinjiang last year were part of Beijing's ploy to hide ongoing atrocities there. You heard that right. Also, a young American girl made a TikTok video about her trip to China and has received massive backlash, with haters calling it CCP propaganda. Today, we'll take a deeper look. This is Reports on China. I'm Andy Boreham in Shanghai. Let's get reporting. If you watch Western media, China's Xinjiang region is an open-air prison, the location of mass genocide and indoctrination, a dystopian hellscape where the Uyghur people are smashed into line and misery reigns supreme. But if you look at reality, well, it is completely different. Last year, 2023, Xinjiang saw a massive uptick in tourism as China came out of 3 years of closed borders. A whopping 265 million tourists swarmed to the region, spending nearly US $42 billion. And contrary to popular belief, Xinjiang is not off limits to foreign visitors, and no special passes are needed to go there and look around for yourself. Get a tourist visa to China, buy a plane ticket, go to Xinjiang and enjoy. In fact, citizens of 6 countries have just been okayed by the Chinese government to visit China completely visa-free. So if you're from France, Germany, Italy, the Netherlands, Spain, or Malaysia, just buy a plane ticket and come. This openness and successful tourism in Xinjiang doesn't bode well with anti-China propagandists, including the Western media, governments, and Washington-funded rights groups, who prefer when China's borders were locked down because of COVID for 3 years so they could continue spinning lies that no inquisitive travelers could easily prove wrong. Now that China and Xinjiang are welcoming millions, they've taken a hilarious turn with their propaganda. Apparently, Beijing welcoming millions of tourists to Xinjiang is an attempt to hide ongoing atrocities. I'm not even joking. Take a look at this hilarious tweet from Washington-funded group the Uyghur Human Rights Project. They say, China's significant promotion of tourism to the Uyghur region attempts to mask ongoing atrocities. Honestly, you cannot make this stuff up. Let's read some of the replies. CY Tan said, I'd like to have this Uyghur human rights group suggest to USA tourism departments to organize tour packages for the Guantanamo Bay camp to promote their exemplary human rights standards and compete with China. Sun added, real Orwellian newspeak here. China is hiding atrocities by both not allowing tourism to the region previously and now opening the doors for people to see Xinjiang. You can never satisfy these bozos. Evergreen Wildlife Centre pointed out, usually when there's a genocide going on, you don't invite people to see the region. You usually block it off because of genocide. But I guess China really sucks at genocide. Honestly, you just have to laugh these days at the tragic lengths some people will go to paint China in a negative light, even in the face of all the evidence to the contrary. Case in point, CBC News, who were flown to Xinjiang to join a tour of the area. They literally admit that all they spotted was prosperity and stability, and even then they had to put a negative spin on it. Their reporter Elizabeth Palmer admitted she had zero first-hand evidence of any kind of atrocity or otherwise, writing, what we didn't see was evidence of the detention centres and prisons that turned Xinjiang into an international scandal. But then, against all reason and journalistic reasoning, she added her own but at what cost spin, writing, meanwhile, the government has been investing heavily in Xinjiang, including a multi-billion-dollar high-speed train. Everywhere we saw evidence of the eye-watering money China is spending on infrastructure, like wind farms and tourist development. Sounds good, right? But not for CBC News, who added, the message? Forget human rights abuses. Take in the sights. What human rights abuses exactly, Elizabeth? You literally just admitted you saw nothing of the sort. You haven't seen any second-hand evidence either. Now, if you want to see human rights abuses, why don't you join the next group of journalists covering the situation in Gaza? Just a few years ago, Xinjiang was plagued with violent terrorist attacks. The economy was stagnant and things were looking dire. Beijing decided it was time to put an end to that, coming down like a ton of bricks on violent extremists and investing heavily in the people of Xinjiang and its infrastructure to bring prosperity and hope to the region. And a major part of that comes from investing in tourism, which has already shown massive dividends, with billions and billions of dollars spent and nearly 300 million tourists visiting in just 1 year. Now, of course, this is a good thing, but not for the Western media. Honestly, you guys, it begs belief the mental gymnastics these people have to go through to deny the reality they see with their own eyes. Speaking of which, a TikTok video by an American visiting China's amazing city of Chongqing recently went viral online, leading to more vitriolic anti-China comments. But first, let's take a look at the video. Wow, it looks pretty amazing, right? Well, I can promise you, Chongqing is all that and more, which is why it's right at the top of my favorite Chinese cities list. But let's check out some of the comments, and I hope you're ready. Davis says, "This is CCP propaganda at its finest." Saint Alexei tried to deny it was even filmed in Chongqing. Looks suspiciously like Singapore. Caesar said, "It's just propaganda. They didn't show you the dirty, dog-eating commie parts." Jay said, "CCP propaganda is evolving." Gut, the bad musician, asked, "I wonder why they didn't show the Uyghurs camp." If these comments make you mad, I totally understand. Honestly, the general consensus in the West seems to be that anything good about China is propaganda, and that it can't possibly be a nice, fun, interesting, extraordinary, or nuanced place. Well, guess what? It is. And that's why I've lived here for the past 10 years. Truly, just come to China and see for yourself, especially if you're from those 6 countries I mentioned earlier. You don't even need to have a visa. Just buy a cheap plane ticket and get your butt to China. Western propaganda has had a free run for the past 3 years when visiting was impossible, but those days are over. So I hope to see you soon. And on that note, that will be it for today, you guys. But as always, I would love to hear what you have to say, so do let me know down below. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you all next time. From myself and Yaya, bye-bye.